Welcome to another edition of the Power of Words, the Winner's Mentality of me, your host, Pastor Kevin Treasure, aka the Winner's Mentality, helping you win with your words. And for the next few weeks, in the month of October, I'm going to be highlighting the topic of domestic violence, because many people will not know, but October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and it's really helping to bring awareness to the issues that is worldwide. It's not just restricted to any one country, continent, nation. It is worldwide. It's America, Europe, Africa, Asia. Anywhere you find men and women, unfortunately, we will sometimes find domestic violence. In some countries more than others, and sometimes the levels are vary, depending on the people who are involved. And sometimes there are some horrific stories. Many of you will know that I was a 999 operator, police 999 operator for many years, taking calls, emergency calls and non-emergency calls, mainly emergency calls from the public here in London. And unfortunately, I've heard some atrocious stories. And this month, I'm just going to be highlighting some stories which are unfortunately true, I have to say, and some stories which I'd have to not give real names, but many people can identify with these stories. And today I want to talk about, we'll just call her Shamima. Shamima's story. I'm not going to be long, but I just really want to highlight domestic violence and just bring an awareness to what's really happening out there, because many people don't know the scale of what some women and some men are facing out there in relationships. Some people are living in some very toxic relationships where they're being abused physically, and if not physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, sometimes all of them rolled into one. Sometimes it's more physical violence, sometimes it's more emotional violence, sometimes it's the mental violence, the mental abuse and torture that people are facing, gaslighting and all kinds of narcissistic behavior. Because I say that word again because I find that a lot of these men that display these behaviors have this type of attitude, a very controlling behavior. But today we're going to talk about Shamima's story. Shamima is not her real name, but some people may be able to identify with Shamima. Now Shamima was living in Pakistan, and she was doing fine. And while in Pakistan, relatives came over, and a man caught her attention, and he liked her, and he said he wanted to marry her. And obviously the family were delighted that they chose their daughter to marry. A big celebration there, and made plans to bring her back to London, England, which she did finally succeed in doing. While she was there, not long after they were married and came here, she fell pregnant, and it's actually during the pregnancy that everything actually changed for Shamima, because this man now started to display his true colors. And first it started with just the arguing and the nitpicking. And when I say nitpicking from people from other areas, that's just picking out faults, other people's faults, little faults, but making them appear big. And so he started nitpicking, and then started really arguing, and then shouting, and then the shouting started. And then after the shouting, now he starts unfortunately starts to put his hands on her. Now Shamima is not really speaking the language, so she's still having help in speaking English properly. She speaks some English, but her English vocabulary is not great, so there's a communication barrier. Since she's been in England, the only people that she knows are his family, and unfortunately his mother also lives in the same house, and his brother and his sister also live in the same house, and one of them have a partner also. So it gets to a point where it's not only Shamima's husband that is now abusing her, the mother-in-law has now also started to abuse her and start to shout at her and make her feel belittled, and other family members are also isolating her. So now you've got Shamima, who's come from Pakistan. She's on her own. Her family that she does have in another part of the country called Birmingham, for those you don't know. And Shamima's in London. That's a 3-hour drive, 3.5-hour drive. She doesn't drive, and Shamima is going through now what we call a serious state of domestic violence. She's been abused mentally, she's been put down, and she's been hurt. and this has been going on for a long time. And the only way she actually comes out of this problem is by when she actually has the baby. It's just so fortunate that the midwife is also of Pakistani heritage and speaks her language, and she manages to open up and tell her what she's been going through and what she's facing. And this midwife actually happens to literally save her life and save her from further torture and abuse. And she actually gets her put into what's called a women's refuge. That's where the husband doesn't know, nobody knows where you are, nobody can reach you. It's just for women, single women and single mothers, and it's a secret location that usually no one actually knows. Sometimes not even the police know unless they're told. And this is how Shamima managed to escape the horror of what she was living through. Now, I tell this story because I know that there are many Shamimas out there. You may be Shamima, or you may know a Shamima. I encourage you to get help. In this YouTube video, if you look through the comments and the posts, I have left some organizations which were very helpful, which help women refugees and domestic violence organizations and charities that have been excellent in helping women get out of the trouble that they're in and the situations that they face. But you may not be Shamima, but you may know Shamima, and you may know someone in a situation that they're facing right now, and I encourage you to get them to get the help that they need and not be afraid. And sometimes it takes someone to help them out of the situation that they're in, because sometimes people don't know what to do. People are new to the country and they're scared. But I want to let you know that there is help for a Shamima out there. There is help for someone that's facing what Shamima is facing, and you will get through this and you will get out of this. So please, this is October 2024, and this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, bringing awareness to a subject that isn't being talked about enough. This has been me, Kevin Treasure, aka The Winner's Mentality, helping people win, but in the month of October, helping women win. Stay blessed.